Hey everyone, this is Stefan from ProjectLifeMastery.com, and today I'm excited to introduce you guys to a good friend of mine, John Wang. John is a successful entrepreneur here in Vancouver, and he's also the founder and creator of the One Kindness Challenge. So I wanted to bring John today and introduce you guys to him because he's created a movement around kindness and generosity and contribution that's really making a huge difference in the world. And as you guys know, I'm a big fan of that. I'm a big fan of adding value. And John is the person that, we're going to have a great discussion today, just me picking his brain about the importance of this and how it can change your life as well as making a bigger difference to society. So John, thank you so much for joining today.
It's my pleasure.
Do you want to maybe share with people a little bit about the One Kindness Challenge and how you created it?
Absolutely, yeah. So the One Kindness Challenge is a very simple idea. It basically is based on the idea of doing an act of kindness every single day for 30 days and watching your life transform from it. We have this misconception that kindness is what we do for other people, like it's about improving other people's lives. We think of things like the Dalai Lama or Mother Teresa, people going out there and like doing great things, which is fantastic. But the science behind it that's interesting and the studies that have shown is how much of an impact kindness can have on improving our daily lives in three major ways, which is in the way that you shape your personal relationships, in the way that you affect your business and your income, especially if you're a corporation or a larger size business. And then the third way is how it affects your health. And these are three things that we don't usually associate with kindness, but there are so many studies and so much science behind this of how, essentially something as simple as a habit of kindness can change your life.
Wow. Yeah. So what inspired you to get into this and actually, take initiative to create something like this? Have you just kind of seen, I've seen at least just how negative the world can become and just the internet and everything. But what inspired you to take this initiative?
Okay, so it was actually by accident. I travel a lot. Yeah. I'm a big believer in adventure and how it helps, just like you. You also believe that travel can help expand our vision for the world. And one year I was traveling through Nepal and I just got on this little paragliding adventure thing, and coming back I got stranded in the middle of this village. Mm-hmm. And there was supposed to be a car to come pick me up and it never showed up. So I was sitting there waiting on the side, and after a while a car pulled up and there was a driver and his family, and he asked me, hey, do you need a ride somewhere? And I was actually kind of surprised that we could communicate so well. Mm-hmm. And so I said, sure, I'm in town. Can you please take me? If you don't mind, I'll be happy to pay you. And he's like, yeah, sure, hop on. And as we're driving through, I was chatting with his family, and I found out that he actually was going the opposite direction that I was going. Mm-hmm. And it was a huge deal for him to drive all the way back into town just to take me there. And not to mention that at the time, Nepal was going through a gas shortage, and this was not an easy thing. He was going way out of his way to help me. So at the very end, I offered to give him some money and at least pay for the gas fare and stuff like that. And he said, no, there's no need for it. And I was like, why? And he said, well, I'm not just doing this for you, I'm doing this for me. I get the enjoyment of doing this. Wow. So that stayed with me. That changed my entire view of what if we don't help people for other people, but we also help people to improve ourselves. Yeah. And that actually is that's what gave me this sort of seed. Yeah. And later on, I'll hear story after story from, entrepreneurs, from business people in my life, celebrities, and athletes of how kindness has all impacted their life and improve their life when they go and help other people.
For sure.
Which is a massive shift in my entire mindset towards it.
Yeah, it's really interesting because you're doing something from someone else, and oftentimes you're doing it for a selfless cause. You're not really trying to do it to get anything back. There's no agenda, but we do still benefit. You get a sense of self-esteem, confidence, pride. I believe it really kind of programs your mind for more abundance and happiness and joy that you get from that. So in many ways, you get back such incredible feelings. But I also believe, just those acts of kindness, when you give like that, it comes back to you in some way or another. Whether it's a spiritual thing or what it might be. But I really believe in, whatever you give comes back to you tenfold.
Every time.
Yeah.
Every time. And this is not just a spiritual thing, I really believe. What we're seeing is very simple. We're communal people, especially if you're an entrepreneur or you want to have a business, or you work with people in a corporate setting. What you put out there influences how others view you and their trust for you and their vision of you. And this is why I say, like, if you want to improve your social sphere and upgrade the people in yourself, the best way to do it is by asking, how do I make a contribution? How do I help other people? And a great example is the story of Tony Horton, the founder of P90X.
Yeah.
So I met Tony when I was traveling to a conference down in California. And he was in the gym at the time. And I just ran into him purely by accident. I just went to go for a workout with my brother-in-law. We just went to the gym, and he was there with his team, and they were like inventing these crazy workouts. They took over the entire hotel gym. Him and his team was there. And we just said, hey, can we jump in and join you guys some more workout? So that was the day where I got trained by the founder of P90X. I'm going to tell you, it was the most intense workout I have ever had in my life. And after the end of it, I was telling him about this thing that I do, which is called the One Kindness Challenge. And he said, well, look, he said, I have a story that I never got to share. And he told me about how when he first started off, he went to LA and he was just a personal trainer. And he was kind of struggling. It was not the easiest thing for him to, get a lot of acclaim or anything like that. But he had this book that he was reading, and there was this passage in there that was a daily challenge, and it was just go do something kind for someone you don't like. And he was like, and he was, okay, I'll do it. Then there's a guy at his gym that apparently kind of rubbed him the wrong way. They were playing a basketball game one time, and they just kind of got in each other's faces. And he's like, fine. So he went to the guy and he said, look, I'm a personal trainer. If you want, I'll be happy to train you for free today. And the guy said, sure. So he started giving him advice, and he helped him train, and they developed a relationship. And as that grew, he was helping him out. The guy was seeing that his body had changed. And that guy basically one day said, hey, listen, I want to set you up with someone. I want you to get a meeting with somebody. And I think that this person would really like what you do. And that person that he set up a meeting with ended up being Tony's future business partner, the guy who funded P90X and started the empire that it was that. So it was an act of kindness. These are the stories that you hear all the time. That if we improve each other's lives, we can create improvements in our own.
Now, I really also believe there's a ripple effect, right? Because, obviously that person in Nepal that did that act of kindness for you, you've carried that forward. You're inspired by that. And even if, I think it can also be the small things too, whether just smiling to someone on the street or giving a compliment. By you adding value to someone else and making them feel good, that's going to make them feel good. They're going to pass that along to someone else throughout their day. And it really has a huge ripple and scale effect beyond often what we can imagine. So it's cool to look at that big picture of how those simple acts can make a huge difference.
Absolutely. Yeah. It is the smallest things. A lot of the times because when I tell people, I want you to go do 30 acts of kindness, a lot of times the first reaction is, well, what's an act of kindness? Do I have to go and spend an entire day at a soup kitchen? And not necessarily. It's not about the size of the act. It's the size of the impact. I'm sure just sitting here now, you could think of a moment where somebody did something for you that to them might have been very, very small, but it brightened your day, or it just made your day better. It could be something somebody said to you, like a compliment. When you're just having a rough day and you hear someone says, hey, I really like your shirt. And you always, and it's just something that immediately brightens the rest of your day. Right? There's a really famous story about a guy who in San Francisco had walked to the Golden Gate Bridge and killed himself. And later on, when the crime investigators, and the psychoanalysts went to his home, they found a note on top of his bureau, and it was a suicide note, and just said, "Today I'm going to go walk to the Golden Gate Bridge. If one person smiles at me along the way, I will not jump."
Oh, wow.
And it's so tragic, but also so powerful to think of how something so small could have prevented this tragedy. But it's it's something that we don't think of every day, like opening a door, smiling to somebody, like offering to, help someone carry groceries to their car. These small gestures can have massive impacts on somebody else's lives.
I love that. Yeah, I've also, I've done kind of random acts of kindness before too, and even little things. I remember me and my friends one time, we had just these inspirational quotes or compliments, and we would kind of print them out, and we'd go around the city, and you'd put them up on the lamppost or whatever it is, just to brighten people's day. And, it's the little things like that, and just kind of going out of your way, it really is powerful. So it kind of leads me to the topic and the question of negativity, because obviously the negativity and selfishness has a huge negative consequence. And a lot of people aren't aware of it. We live kind of in a society where the news is just constantly conditioning the media, all the problems and what's going wrong. Obviously, there's a lot of issues in the world of people killing each other and fighting, and bullying is a big issue of kids and people like that in school. And especially I see it on the internet, because the internet is a place where people are anonymous and they could say whatever they want. They can criticize, they can judge, they can do whatever they want, but there's no consequence because nobody knows who they are, right? They're hiding behind a computer. Right. They don't have their face there. Nobody knows about it, and I find it could be a very hateful, negative environment, and I've observed that, and that has also a huge effect on other people, because people hate each other. There's like flame wars and fights online. It's pretty crazy. So I see this as a potential solution, like a movement, changing people's mindset. But just around the negativity aspect, like what do you see as, where does that come from? Like why are people, in that state of mind, bullying and negative and hating, just kind of, where does that stem from?
Ultimately, I think it always comes from fear, isn't it? And I know that personally very well. Like the sense of fear that can take over, especially if you run your own business, especially if you are maybe not yet where you can be. When you wake up in the morning, sometimes there's days where you're just not sure if you can rise up to that challenge. Days like that creates a fear that kind of gnaws away at us. And when we give into that fear, it's easy to put other people down, because in that moment we feel a little bit better about ourselves, but it's not really, is it? It just creates a cycle. It creates a sense of like we put it out there and we get affected by it. Which is why, at least for me, I believe in gratitude as being the most powerful mindset you can have. When you wake up with gratitude, and I know that's part of your morning routines as well, when you wake up with gratitude and you live your day with gratitude, there's so much power behind it, because you're always coming from the idea of abundance. Sure. I've got enough. I've got what I have to, what I need to survive and to continue and to thrive, right? So negativity a lot of times comes from a fear and uncertainty and a sense that maybe we're not good enough, right?
Yeah, and I find it's definitely there's people they have their challenges, their problems in their life, and I can see if you're unhappy with your life, you're gonna maybe project that to other people. If you judge yourself and you're hard on yourself, then you might be harder and judge other people as well. But I actually find when you do these acts of kindness, if you can challenge yourself and push yourself to do that, it's amazing that even if you're having a bad day and you force yourself to do that and you smile at someone else, like that act of still doing that can actually change your state in a huge way. So I think, people that are watching this, don't wait till like you're happy and everything's perfect to do it. Like if you're going through a hard time and challenges in your life, that's the best time to start, because by doing that, you're getting yourself out of that state, out of that scarcity mindset, out of that fear. Because I think a lot of it is like people focus too much on themselves, their own problems, their own issues, all that stuff, and it just kind of compounds, and whenever you focus on it, it's going to just amplify. But if you step outside of yourself, like one of the best ways I think to overcome your problems is to get outside of yourself, focus on someone else, because everyone else, there's people out there worse off than you, right? And it's, and if you can make a difference in their life, then it changes your perception. It makes you, but just by you giving that kindness, it comes back to you feel good about yourself.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's something that takes so little work. We're talking about just 5 seconds. I mean, we all can think of a moment where we've done something kind for somebody else and how it made us feel in that moment when we did it. And that's what it takes to sometimes kickstart our little systems, right? And so if we think back to the way that we experience kindness, the biology of what happens actually is when we do an act of kindness, even a small one, like paying someone a compliment or opening a door for somebody or buying someone a cup of coffee, these are things that when we do them will create a sense of warmth in our chest. And what that we're feeling is actually an experience in the stimulation of a part of our body called the vagus nerve, which is connected right here on the back of our brainstem. And it's a very powerful thing that then releases these, powerful positive feelings that in our brain can trigger that sense of inspiration and motivation. So in a lot of ways, if you're having a bad day and you don't want to, keep going down that cycle, it sometimes is something as simple as just going out there and, like you said, do a small act of kindness and see how it makes you feel right after, as soon as you're done. Yeah.
So what are some of the benefits? You've had so many people that have, done this challenge, and, I was looking on your website and everything. And by the way, it's got a great website. We'll link to it. I think it's onekindnesschallenge.
Onekindness.org.
Onekindness.org. Make sure you check it out. But I'm sure you've heard so many different stories. But what would you say are the top benefits that people get just from doing the challenge for 30 days?
The first one is how you feel. Like that's the most immediate one. And there's been studies that show that it's a compounding effect. And it's like a high. This is what they call the helper's high. But essentially, when you do an act of kindness and you get that hit of endorphins, your brain wants to keep replicating that.
It's like an addiction.
It almost becomes like, exactly, kindness is addictive. And what it does is it actually enlightens your stress levels. It dissolves some of that stress we carry in our body. And everything becomes a little bit cheerful. So that's the easiest one that I can usually talk about. There's been studies that show how acts of kindness and acts of charity will lengthen your life. There's studies that show how it will improve your own personal relationships. A study done over, with thousands of people across something like 40 different countries found that across all of these nations, it doesn't matter the culture or background, the number one trait that the majority of people list desirable in the opposite sex is kindness, above financial situation and even sexual attractiveness. So we think that kindness is attractive because, well, if somebody can have the ability to be kind, then they must not be struggling very much. They must be abundant in their lifestyles. Right?
And it subcommunicates that abundance and confidence and self-esteem and everything, right? So you're going to be drawn towards someone like that who's radiating that happiness, who's always making everyone else feel good. Right? I'm sure people like that might know someone in their life that just always just making everyone else feel good. And, complimenting them, like, that's very attractive.
And we want people around us who are kind and giving. It's not even because we want something from them. It's just that we want that energy within our lives, right? We want that energy around us. So there's that. They found businesses that have some element of giving, charitable giving, generally speaking, are much more profitable. Their employees are happier. They get lower turnover. They get better customer satisfaction. Because if you think about major business, like Tom's Shoes is a really good example of this, right? Tom's Shoes, they have the idea of buy one, give one, right? You buy a pair of shoes, they give away a pair of shoes. A lot of, you think about, for example, an airline like WestJet, every single year they do these massive drives. But if you take a look at almost every business, from small solopreneur type businesses all the way to these mega corporations, the ones that have initiatives where they are able to help the communities around them tend to do better, because we want to support businesses that are supporting us. We don't like greedy businesses. And we don't like greedy businessmen. We like people who want to give. And we trust them more. It builds that connection. There's so many benefits to this. I could keep going on for days.
I definitely see it with business too. And I know there's a lot of people out there that just want to make money and they're just kind of focused on themselves. And But the interesting thing, in order to make money, you have to add value in some way, right? You have to kind of step outside yourself, create a product, a service that will solve a problem or benefit people, or even invest in a company that's adding value to that company. But through adding value, that's how you build raving fan followers, raving fan customers that are going to want to be loyal to you and continue doing business with you as well. So I find if you want to make more money, this is directly applicable to that as well, right? And of course, the relationships, the networking, and the people like that as well. But I find it can make a huge difference just your financially by being generous, being kind, and just trying to add value and serve.
It comes down to one simple word, which is empathy. Are you empathetic enough? Because if we're empathetic enough to be aware of the needs of other people around us, when we see somebody out there that needs help, who needs something, and we're able to feel what they're experiencing and we reach out to help them, if you come off with that mindset, you can practice that mindset, you're going to have a better business. And the reason for that is because then you appreciate your customers' needs more, right? Your clients' needs more. Right? If you're in a business or you're working for someone else, you're going to appreciate the people you interact with, your coworkers, your bosses. They're going to understand and feel that, and you, in turn, are going to see the benefits of that. Right? Come from a place of giving. And that's when the universe will just line everything up for you together. It's a magical, magical thing.
And I think the key also is that there's going to be times where I'm sure you're going to encounter people that are negative, right? Maybe family members, maybe coworkers. And I find in those moments, if you can still respond out of kindness, because even if you have a hater or something, but being negative to you, but you respond out of kindness, you're not reacting out of fear and letting that trigger you. The responding in kindness, I find it totally can diffuse the situation.
Oh my God,
And I remember, just people like the Dalai Lama, even Martin Luther King, he said that I choose love because hate is too far of a burden to bear. And all the spiritual leaders of the world, they all kind of preach love, contribution, kindness. So I think that, even if you're watching this, you say, well, I have someone in my life that's negative. And also by you being kind, you're actually inspiring others. By you being the example and other people seeing that's, I think, can also diffuse a lot of those problems.
Absolutely. And that's a really great example. If there's people in your life who are difficult, there's a reason for that. They're not just mean because they are naturally born that way. We've seen studies of how kindness is inherent biologically. We see the way toddlers and infants react to people who need help. It happens every single time. There's studies and that I could go into, but basically, when we look at children, they are all about giving. They're all about helping each other. When did we lose that? Well, usually when we're growing up, and at a certain point, we experience pain. We experience wounding, and our reaction to that wounding is defensiveness, and a lot of times we wound others. So when we're encountering someone who's having a bad day, there's that great saying, everyone's got a story. Every single person you encounter, like if you're out there, so I'm really lucky in that doing what I do, I get emails about kindness and stories all the time. So the other day, I heard the story about this girl who was on a bus, and she got on the bus, with a couple people who, didn't pay their fare. And she paid her fare, but the other people didn't. And the bus driver kind of, yelled at the couple of people and also her and kind of clumped them together to, get off the bus or pay the fare. Later on, she came back up to the bus driver and she said, listen, I'm really sorry, but I felt really terrible just now. I felt a little embarrassed. I paid, and I don't think you recognize that. And in that moment, she could have just been angry. She had every right to be. And she could have just yelled at the bus driver, but she chose to approach and come from an empathetic route and ask, to communicate. And she said, listen, I just want to make sure that you're not having a bad day, but I just want to say that, look, I did pay, and I'm sorry if there was a miscommunication. And the bus driver immediately changed his tone, and the bus driver apologized and, asked to give her a hug, and they hugged, and that created this ripple, and the bus driver's mood got considerably better after that. Every passenger come on, he was smiling at them. Think about that again, that ripple effect that we can create.
For sure.
Right?
It's amazing.
It's so powerful.
Yeah, very, very empathetic in that situation.
Yes, absolutely.
So I also know there's a bracelet. You want to maybe share with people the purpose of the bracelet and just how that helps with the awareness aspect of it?
Yeah. So I wanted something that can help remind me. I mean, it's so easy to forget about kindness. It's so easy because you get busy doing your daily, everything else in life. It starts racking up. So I created a simple reminder in the form of bracelets. So it's just something that looks like this. And when I start off my day, it on the side is just one kindness. So it reminds me that I want to go do an act of kindness today. And once I have it done, I flip it around and it's our logo, which is a heart with a check mark on it. Just to say like a to-do list, like, oh, I did it.
Right.
And this has a couple of different reasons why I wanted to create this. One is that it helps me remember, but every single time that I look down on it now, I get reminded of that feeling that I feel whenever I've done an act of kindness, and it just brings a smile to my face. And I have also heard back from my friends and people around me that when they look at it, they can see if I've done it, and it holds me accountable.
That's cool.
and if I haven't done it, they kind of go, "Hey, you haven't done an act of kindness today," and I'll be like, "Oh yeah, that's right, I should go do something." But if they see that I have, a lot of times they'll ask me, "So what was it that you did today?"
That's awesome.
And I get to experience that again. I get to share that and influence the people around me with it.
That's cool. I love that. And I love, I'm sure people ask you about it, and it's a great conversation piece too, because you get to share a lot of stories and inspire other people too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then it kind of spreads. So you guys can get the bracelet at onekindness.org, right?
We send them out, and we take in donations, and the donations goes towards one. We manufacture more of these guys, and a lot of times we want to work with schools and especially children and so on and so forth, because we want to instill that same idea of kindness towards younger people. And so if you want one, go to the website, onekindness.org, and I'll send you some.
Cool. Yeah, and I think it's good to get a few, because then you can give it out to people, you can share it with your friends or family or whoever it might be.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I want to wrap up pretty soon, but do you have any just final words for people that are maybe watching this? Certain things that you just want to, final message you might want to leave them with, just on the importance of creating this as a habit, and just making that change, making that difference, and becoming a more kind person.
Absolutely. If there's one message that I could sort of put on a billboard and share with everyone, it's the idea that making the world a better place doesn't have to be this massive thing. Right? It doesn't have to be this big thing where you dedicate a year of your life to go somewhere and rescue a village of people. A lot of times it's about creating small ripples of impact, but on a regular basis. Make it a habit and watch your mindset change. Watch the way it changes your psychology and the people around you. It is instantaneous, it is magical, and it will absolutely improve your life. And it's just one act of kindness. One kindness changes your life.
I love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, John. Appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Thank you guys so much for watching this. Check out the One Kindness Challenge. Commit to it. Add it to your morning ritual. Add it to your part of your day. Definitely happy to support what you're up to and everything. I'll have to have you back to talk more about your entrepreneurial success and your journey, and share with you guys more about his story and whatnot. But I want to thank you guys again for watching this. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button. Leave a comment below. Leave a comment just with an act of kindness that you might have done in your life, something you might commit to doing today. I'd love to hear that. I'd love to be inspired by that. Both John and I will be happy to read those. And thanks for watching, guys. Look forward to seeing you in the next video.